Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've had this little Kizer Urban Bowie for a couple days now, and it has gotten quite a bit smoother just from using it. Something else that's very cool too is the micarta. If you watch the unboxing video, you can see how much darker it's already gotten. It's been 3 days now, and I like it when it gets darker like that. But I want to take a look inside this thing and see what's going on in there, and cleaning up the bearings and the pivot and re-lube everything and see if we can make it even smoother. And go ahead and lock tight the screws while we're there. Yeah, see how much smoother things dropping shut. And it's such a light blade, almost completely dropped shut, almost guillotine action. Actually, it's gotten so smooth. See that little spot right there? It guillotined the tip of the callus off my thumb earlier today. So cleaning it's going to suck actually, because rubbing alcohol is going to hurt like a mofo. Alright, break out the bits here. I'm thinking T6. I think I grabbed a, yeah, that's T6. I guess the pivot's T8 then. Surprising on such a little knife. Yep, T8. Let's start back here first. Take the scale screws off first. Alright, this video is probably going to be a longer one. Takes a minute to get these things completely apart, cleaned up, and put back together. So I don't know if I gotta take the clip screws out or not. We'll see in a second. Alright, get my little magnetic bowl here. Make sure I don't lose anything. Oh, cool. Did not have to take out. There's our detent ball there. Don't want to lose the screws when I keep them in there, so I'm just going to flip it over and keep my fingers on them. Yeah, there's a little bit of stuff going on up in there. Let's go ahead and clean that side of that up. I like that you don't have to take the pocket clip screws out. Makes it a little easier, a little faster. Definitely want to get it right in there where the pivot goes. Honestly, this thing may be very clean inside it. I have no idea. We will see though. But I like to look inside the knives and see what makes them work. The more you know, right? Alright, so there's our bearing. These are ceramic cage bearings. Take a look at these. This side was facing the scale, but with these I don't think it's gonna get that to focus for you. I don't think it's gonna matter which side they go. I don't think that this doesn't appear to be a difference from one side to the other. So let's just clean it up. Try not to touch it with my thumb. Here's the other bearing. They're actually very clean. This thing's really clean. There's not a whole lot of lubricant in there though. Very little lubricant that I see, so I think some KPL is going to help it out for sure. Let's take this pivot out. Clean it all up. Everything's going to be spinning around it, so we want it to be clean. There we go. Where'd my little my stick go? Here we go. There we go. And let's clean the blade. There's a little bit of lubrication in there, but not a whole lot. Very little, actually. See your detent hole there and your detent track. And that's why it's getting smoother. That detent ball is, you know, clearing its way on this blade, and it makes it, every time you deploy it and close it, it's making it a little bit smoother. There's the stop pin. Now I see. I couldn't find a stop pin. I was looking in there trying to figure out where the stop pin was at, and I couldn't find one. It's actually it's in the blade. I don't need to get that out. I don't know if that'll even come out, but that's not going to affect our action at all, so I'm not worried about getting that out. Interesting. Very interesting. I was so confused. I was like, man, there's got to be a stop pin in there somewhere. And I could not see it. Now I understand why. Alright. Put our pin back in here. Is this a D pin? Yes, it is a D pin, so that's what's going to keep us straightened out. There we go. Alright, let's break out the KPL, the regular KPL here. I'm going to put a little dab right there. A little tiny bit. That's probably too much, but that's alright. This will absorb some of it. And we want to get that all over that pivot also. Alright. Drop our first bearing on there. Put a tiny drop with the black pivot, or the black bearing cage. It's hard to see the oil. Alright. Alright. Throw our blade back on there. Put a tiny drop on there. Actually, should put a tiny drop on the other side also. Oh, sorry, wasn't on camera there. You see, I just put a tiny little bit on there. See how small that is? How little I put? That's all you need. If you put too much in there, from carrying it in your pocket, it'll get gunked up. Let's see if we can get anything out of there. No, nothing coming out of there. So you want it lubed well, but you don't want too much lube, because if you get too much lube, it will get gunked up from lint and stuff in your pocket. So you just want just enough. But I don't think the lube they put on these in the factory is anywhere near as good as KPL. It's whatever it is, it's really thick. You can tell it's thick. It's like a grease more than an oil. And every knife I've put KPL on, it has helped quite a bit. Alright, let's put some on the detent hole. A little bit more. I'm going to spread that right down that track, just to make that detent ball glide across there easily. There we go. Alright. This may be the easiest disassembly ever. Now I gotta line up that D on the pivot pin. Where's it at? Oh, it's on the other. It's already lined up on this side. Doesn't matter. Nice. Makes it even easier. Looks like we are back in there. No, we're not lined up here. I don't think we are. Before I put Loctite on anything, I'm going to tighten these down, make sure everything's functioning properly. I'm not going to tighten them real tight, just tight enough until they start to feel a little bit of tension on them. And then once I check it, make sure everything's right, I'll take one screw out at a time, put Loctite on it and put it back in. You know, I'm using this Weeha driver. If you watch some of my videos, you'll have seen my videos on this good screwdriver. I have finally gotten in touch with them, and they're supposed to be sending me a return label to send this back to them. They're going to send me a replacement out, so I will keep y'all posted. So, but apparently I'm not the only one having the issue. The problem is the tolerances are too tight, and you put a bit in, you got to use pliers to get it out because and it pops when you take it out. It's like it's creating a suction. It's so tight. So very disappointing. I'd much rather be using that, but we will make this work. This isn't a review or anything, but so far this knife has been excellent. All right, our centering is off a little bit. Let's tighten down a little bit more. A little bit at a time, baby steps. Still off a little bit. There we go, dead centered. All right, check the action. Oops, that was my fault. All right, we're looking good. All right, let's do our Loctite. Come on out of there, screw. There we go. You can see it already had Loctite on it. I'm not going to bother trying to get that off or anything. I'm going to put a teeny tiny bit more on there. Just a tiny bit. Don't need much. And you want to make sure you're using, that's probably too much right there. So I'm going to get a little bit of that off. You want to make sure you're using the blue Loctite. Don't use the red stuff, or you'll never take it apart again. Well, you might get it apart, but you're going to strip your screws out and destroy your knife in the process. So, all right, tighten that down until it's tight, and then maybe give it a 1 hour turn. Like I told y'all in the other video, think about it as a clock, especially on the pivot. When you're adjusting it, think of a pivot as a clock, and when you're tightening and loosening to adjust, go 1 hour. So from 12 to 1, from 1 to 2, and adjust it that way. You don't need to turn. Once you get it to where it starts to get a little snug, it takes very little to make that adjustment after that. This one didn't have much Loctite on it, very little. Just barely get anything on there. Ooh. There we go. All right. Try to keep that Loctite off the micarta. There we go. So let me go ahead and do my last little turn there. I didn't do it. All right, let's do the pivot now. Sorry, I heard my dogs barking. I think I bumped the camera there. Amazon, you know, and they even work on Sundays. And after I do this, I'm going to sit this knife down. I'm not going to use it till tomorrow. You're supposed to give this Loctite 24 hours to set up. So, and if you start flicking it and everything, it's not going to set up properly. So, you know, while it's still wet, I'll flick it a couple times after I put this in there and adjust it and get it where I want it. But after I get it to where I want it, I'm going to sit this down. I won't use it until tomorrow. So it's going to get a day off. Which means I'm going to carry something else tomorrow in its place. I'm debating on what that's going to be right now. Alright, let's check our centering. Need a little further. See the centering? Let me do it this way. You might be able to even... Actually, let me loosen it up a little. It'll be even worse, and you can watch it move over. I have to use my left hand, which I'm incompetent with my left hand, but we'll try. See how bad that centering's off? Watch as I tighten this down. See it pulling it over? Alright. Sometimes it's better to open the blade when you tighten it. I don't know why that is, but all right, let's check it. That's pretty close. Need a little bit more. I'm going to tighten it an hour. That's it. So what? I don't know how well you can see that. Just barely turn it. Check it. We're going to go another hour. Still a little bit off to the show side. There we go. One more little turn and we'll be good. Dead nuts. Check the action. Very good. While the Loctite is still fresh right now, it's not going to mess it up to flick it a few times, test it out, and go ahead and get that oil rubbed into the detent track and get it spinning on the pivot. It'll be fine to do it right now, but you know, just the first few minutes after you do it, you know, after you put it on there. I don't know what the exact time frame is, but I'd say, you know, within an hour, don't touch it anymore. Probably less than that. You know, I try to do it almost instantly. Get this stuff out of the way here. I've been getting a thumb flick on this thing. It's being a little knife, it can be tricky, but I figured out where you do it. You got to push all the way up here. With the reverse flick, I'm flicking all the way at the bottom of that hole. With the thumb, I have to do it up here. If I do it from there, I just can't get the leverage I need. I need to push up more than out. But with the thumb or the reverse flick, this thing's a reverse flick dream. If you're a Spyderco fan, you'll love this little knife. Alright, we're looking good. We are centered. We got good action. She's taking a day off. And in her place, I think I'm going to carry... I think I'm going to carry the lead. I like this little lead. I hadn't carried it in a while. This is a secondary knife I'll be carrying. I'm carrying something else as my primary. And actually my primary knife's kind of small right now too. It's the Penguin. And grab it. It's in my little valet basket. I'm about to do a review on this one too. I've had it for a couple weeks now, and man, you talk about a good knife for the money. It's gonna be hard to beat this. $30 and you get this kind of action. So alright guys, well that was it. That was the Kizer Bowie, Urban Bowie, disassembly, cleaning, and reassembly. And it will be getting reviewed in a couple weeks. Thank you guys for watching, and see you on the next one.